Hi, I'm Grant Boone, voice of the ACU Wildcats.
And I'm Kimberly Prather. We're your hosts for an all-new season of The Chris Thomsen Show. The ACU football team is coming off one of its best seasons. The Wildcats' 10-0 regular season record gave the program its third Lone Star Conference championship and first outright LSC championship since 1973. So, Grant, I just have one question for you. Are you ready for some football?
Kimberly, I've been waiting 8 months for someone to ask me that question. An all-new season of The Chris Thomsen Show, ready or not, comes your way next.
ACU Wildcats.
Welcome back to the Chris Thomsen Show, episode 1 for 2009. We're joined now by the man himself, ACU head football coach Chris Thomsen. What do you think about the new digs?
I think this is awesome. This is first class, and as soon as you walk in here, it's just a great setup.
Well, you've had a pretty good setup yourself, beginning your 5th season at the helm of the ACU football program. Maybe as we get started with the new season of the Chris Thomsen Show, a word or two about where the program is and where it's been and maybe where it's headed.
Well, it seems like we just got here. I was talking to some of the 5th-year seniors, earlier. It seems like we just got here, but a lot of things have been accomplished. I think as I reflect back, we played in a lot of big, meaningful games. Some televised games, some games with championship implications, both national championship and conference championship, and that's where you want to be in a program at this point. We just want to sustain that and continue to climb towards a national championship, but we're happy with where we are at this point and want to keep climbing.
Last year was just the second undefeated regular season in ACU history. Producer Jimmy Jackson takes us back on the thrill ride that was the 2008 ACU football season.
The Wildcats opened the season at perennial powerhouse Northwest Missouri State. They rallied from 21-7 down in the first quarter to win 44-27 and snap the Bearcats' 17-game home win streak. Back home at Shotwell Stadium, the home opener was no contest. 45-14 ACU over Texas A&M Commerce, behind 390 passing yards and a couple of touchdowns from Billy Malone, and the defense scored twice itself. The game against East Central University, no contest. 66-7. Cats over the Tigers as that newly revamped defense forced 6 turnovers. The Wildcats were unbeaten heading into a nighttime showdown against their nearest rival, Angelo State. The defense rose to the challenge, and Johnny Knox had 232 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns in a 51-7 win. It set up an undefeated showdown between ACU and West Texas A&M and Canyon. Bernard Scott had 400-plus all-purpose yards as the Cats jumped out to a 31-7 halftime lead. But ACU's lead was down to 10 on the first play of the 4th quarter when Billy Malone ran a naked bootleg around the left side to seal the ACU victory. The Cats unbeaten, home for homecoming against Tarleton State. The defense strong again. And Bernard Scott nearly 300 yards in all-purpose yardage and 3 more touchdowns. The Cats knocked off Tarleton State 37-17. In the season finale, Billy Malone was back after a thumb injury that had him out 2 games, and they rolled over Midwestern.
And for the first time since 1950, the ACU Wildcats complete a perfect regular season.
After a first-round playoff bye, ACU faced a familiar foe, arch rival West Texas A&M, but there was nothing familiar about the way this game played out. 93-68 ACU over West Texas A&M in a game that saw ACU roll up 810 yards in total offense as Billy Malone threw for 6 touchdowns and Bernard Scott ran for 6 more and caught a 7th. It set up a rematch against Northwest Missouri State. Bernard Scott had 169 yards and 2 touchdowns, but ACU couldn't get past the 4-time national finalist Bearcats from Northwest Missouri State. After ACU had beaten its first 11 opponents by no less than 17 points in each game, the Cats fell to the Bearcats 45-36, putting an end to one of the greatest seasons in Wildcat history.
Coach, 2008 was such a great season with so many memories. What memory sticks out the most for you?
Well, Kimberly, probably the biggest one is just winning the championship, because many of the guys, the seniors, had been here for 4 or 5 years and had worked really, really hard to get to that. And you know, a lot of the guys that were just 2-year transfers had worked really hard, like Bernard and Johnny, and just being able to piece all that together fell a little bit short in 2007. And so to win it in 2008 was just that was the best thing. That final game of the regular season, being able to win a Lone Star Conference championship, was a great memory.
First Lone Star Conference championship since 1977 and the first outright championship since 1973. The beauty and sometimes the disappointment in college football is that the players keep changing. Mm-hmm. And certainly the roster this year will look considerably different. You lose players that we know about, obviously, that jump out to us, like Billy Malone and Bernard Scott and Johnny Knox. But I can think of some other guys maybe who are a little bit under the radar to the average fan, who certainly wouldn't be under your radar. For example, Sam Collins, your center. Have you ever coached a game in which anyone other than Sam has taken a meaningful snap or delivered a meaningful snap?
Never as a head coach have I been without Sam Collins, and that's a little bit scary, because obviously it all starts at that position, and with what we do on offense, you do a lot of shotgun snapping, you do a lot of different things. So a guy like that's very valuable, and a guy like Jonathan Ferguson, who, you know, 30 or 40 catches last year, clutch catches, miss a guy like that. But we've got a lot of building blocks there still in place with the Whitesides and the Tony Washingtons and the Tony Harps, and I can go on and on. Eric Edwards and Fred Thomsen, the guys that are still there, that are, you know, Royland Tubbs, that are playing huge roles on our team. So we feel like the building blocks are in place. We just got to get the right people around them and replace the ones we lost. Feel like we can have a great year.